Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Monday, March the 13th, 2023. Monday, March the 13th. Today's episode was goodness gracious. Anyway, let's start off with Phyllis. Oh, I guess I'm not starting off with Phyllis. I'm starting off with Nate and Elena. And then we got Elena and then we've got Audra and Victoria, and Audra and Nate. So let's dive in. You know, Audra the other day, Friday, tried to plant some seeds of doubt in Elena's head about Victoria and Nate. Mm-hmm. Well, it worked. And then later, Elena comes, Victoria runs into Elena. And Elena's, no, that's later this today. Audra put some seeds of doubt in. Then Nate is supposed to meet Elena for drinks after her shift. So he leaves the office early. He's going to meet with Elena. He's actually trying, right? Because he's guilty. So Elena, she ain't having it. Because now Audra's told her some stuff, right? And so she point blank questions Nate. And he goes, wait, me and Victoria, look, nothing could be further from the truth. Liar, right? And so he goes, what would make you think that? She goes, after all the hard work that we've put in. And he goes, there's nothing but professional, admiration between us. I don't know where you could have gotten that from. And so she's like, well, I ran into Audra. I'm so happy she threw Audra under the bus because Audra is the one that put that idea in her head, right? And Nate said, Audra, yes. And she said that Victoria shows you this unusual, personal attention. And she just went on and on. And I thought, wait a minute, Nate, I don't want what happened. He goes, this is nothing like Hamilton Winters. I'm valued and appreciated. She says, but yet, no, there was an air of influence that got into your head, Nate, that made you make wrong decisions. And he goes, that I assure you is not happening here, period. I admire Victoria as a mentor, nothing more. I love her business creative mind, but nothing more. Elena, you're the one that I want to be with. So of course he talks her down and she's like, well, okay. I mean, I don't want to be, like doubting or doubt. He goes, no, she goes, but it's just with what Audra said. And so he goes, no, you know what? Trust me. Nope, that is not, I don't know what she inferred, right? So they hug and she goes, you know what, Nate? It's been a long shift and I shouldn't have said I was up to going out for drinks. He goes, then I tell you what we do. Why don't we go home and we cuddle up and we just spend time at home? And she goes, I would like that, right? So they both go their separate ways. He's supposed to be coming home, but he decides to go back to no, not go back to the office. He decides to confront Audra. Now, Elena decides to go by the coffee house so that she could get, Sharon's special herbal tea. And so she's getting her tea, and guess who walks in? Victoria. Okay, but I'm going to get to that conversation, right? Before Victoria leaves and goes there, Audra's in the office doing her work, kind of proud of herself for putting the seeds of doubt in Elena's head. And Victoria walks in. I'm looking for Nate. Oh, well, Nate has already left. He and Elena had a special couples night out planned. Isn't that sweet? And Victoria looks, well, yeah, that's nice. I mean, but I wanted to discuss some things, but she goes, yep, Nate's not here. And so then Elena Actually, Audra starts the conversation because see, Audra wants to start some mess. So Victoria sits down and she's talking to Audra because Victoria is also feeling her out. Because see, now that Victoria is all territorial, where Nate is concerned, Victoria is looking at Audra like, am I going to have to fire you? Because if you're too friendly with Nate, you're an obstacle I'm going to have to get rid of, right? And so Audra is listening to Victoria talk and she goes, you know, it must be so nice to have Nate to mentor and, you know, to nurture, because you do spend an awful lot of time with him privately. He is so lucky to have you as a boss. And Victoria's looking at her. No, I see the value in Nate. And he's a valued member of my team, because she's sitting down, kind of leaning in, talking to Audra like, what's your angle, chick? Right? What's your angle? And so Audra tells Victoria that, you know, somehow they wrap up little coy talk and Audra stands up. Victoria is going to get ready to leave. She goes, you know, I admire you. I really admire you. And Victoria's like, why so? Because it doesn't matter to you if you will like pit family against each other to accomplish your goals. And Victoria looks at her and said, business goals. It's business that matters. And she goes, see, us Newmans, we are a different breed. Because she goes, I mean, goodness, how would that work in your family? Right? Like, you don't have a problem with telling Devon to go, you know, I mean, not Devon, Nate, go out and do this to his cousin or that. And so Victoria looked at her and she said, us Newmans, we're a different breed. Yeah, we may have our personal differences, but when it all boils down, we all rally around what's in the best interest of Newman Enterprises. And so Audra looks at her and she goes, oh, okay, good to know. So Victoria, and she says something else, some little dig at Victoria, just a slight little tiny undertone of something. And as Victoria is walking by, Victoria turns, and the look that she's given in this picture behind Audra's back is, okay, she's going to be on the chopping block. Because I don't like her. And Audra, she can't see Victoria looking at her. Audra's kind of smirking like, yeah, I told her. Because she wasn't rude, but see, Audra does all this sneaky undertone talking. And this is, no, oh, no, that's not what I meant. No, you misunderstood. Sorry for the misunderstanding. No, and that's exactly what she meant, right? And so she's smirking and Victoria's looking at her like, I'm getting rid of you, chick. You don't know. So now Nate has left Elena. Nate heads over to Newman, and that's the first time you have seen Nate's head. He was pissed talking to Audra. He goes, I did not hire you to talk about my personal business and give your opinion of what you think is going on. I don't know what you're talking about. And he looked at her. He goes, you told Elena that Victoria pays, you know, an unusual amount of attention to me. You insinuated that something was going on with me and Victoria to Elena. He goes, oh no, that is absolutely, you know, like not what's going to happen here. And she goes, Elena completely misunderstood. What all I said was how lucky you are to have Victoria. She does mentor you personally because she sees something special in you. And all I said is, I mean, you spend personal attention mentoring me, and I appreciate it. And then the whole atmosphere here is Victoria spends personal time and attention to you. That's all. And he goes, he's looking at her like, no, that's not all. And he goes, you don't discuss my personal business. And so she goes, Elena simply misunderstood. See, and so she goes, would you like me to call her to straighten it out? And he goes, no, you will not be calling her, straightening anything out, Audra. But in the future, you won't be talking about that. Okay. Good. I am so happy. Audra, that snake is just being Audra. She's like, look, I already shed one layer of skin last week. I got to come in and do some more slithering around to shed another layer because Audra is a viper. But the problem is she doesn't understand Victoria. She'll fire you unjustly. Okay. But what Audra is going to do is, see, Audra is she's packing up things in her arsenal to blow up against them. She's going to catch Nate and Victoria kissing, even though Nate has clearly told Victoria it's not going to happen again. No, I love Elena. And no, right? But Audra's going to catch, she's going to be the one catching something now. And she'll be able to use that in an unlawful termination suit. Big time. Big time. So anyway, Elena stops at the coffee house, like I said, to get some tea before she goes home. She's got 2 cups. She's one for her and Nate. And Victoria stops it. Oh, Elena, I thought you and Nate had plans for a couples night out. And she goes, we do. However, I was really tired after my shift. And we decided we were going to head home. She goes, but if I know Nate, he probably decided to stop by the office on the way home, but we're both heading home. And, we're going to finish the evening there. And so Victoria's like, oh, okay. And so anyway, hold on for one quick second. Had to answer that real quick. And so she goes, but, we're going to take this up at home. So Victoria then decides to now undermine Elena. Elena is getting it from 2 ends. She's getting it from Audra, and she's getting it from Victoria, right? Victoria is talking about how wonderful it is working with Nate. How they are just we're so in sync with one another. It's a privilege to be able to nurture him. And Elena's just smiling, but it's that fake smile. Like, keep talking, chick, keep talking, because I'm seeing where you're coming from. And Victoria has that fake Victoria when she's trying to be fake. And she wants you to know she's being fake. But it's that pretense of being nice that no, chick, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to upset me. And not upset me, you're trying to make me insecure. And Victoria talked and talked, but anyway, you know all about that. And I was just like, unbelievable, Victoria, right? Okay. Some bad stuff is going to come your way, girlfriend. Seriously. So Elena heads straight over to Newman Media. She brings the tea into where Nate was, and he goes, I thought you were going home. She says, yeah, I thought so too. And she's talking to him and she's just bringing up her concern. She goes, it's like I had a strange conversation with Victoria. She goes, Nate, I just don't have a good feeling about what's going on. I don't. And he's looking, he goes, Elena, and he goes, I don't know what, Victoria could have. She goes, no, nothing. She was just talking about, how close you two are and how in sync you two are on everything. He goes, no, business. I told you she's a great mentor. I'm developing. And, and he goes, Elena, personally, you're the only woman in my life, only. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. All she had to do was be a fly on the wall last month. You and Victoria were kissing right there on that couch, right? But it's only business. And so he, again, smooths her over because Elena doesn't have anything concrete to go on. So why would you completely just now want to sever ties, right? She's just giving him like a pre-warning that I feel something is not right, right? So Victoria calls Nate. It's Victoria. I want you to meet me for drinks so we could finish discussing the McCall takeover or merger, really takeover. And I thought, oh, really? Huh. I want to discuss it over drinks. See, that's showing this ain't business, right? Because I want to pump you full of some drinks so I can be all up in your face. Nate says, I'm sorry, Victoria. I'm in my office right here, right now with Elena, and we are about to head home. And Victoria kind of like, oh, is he telling me no? In her mind, is he actually telling me no? He's choosing going home with Elena over having drinks with me? What? Right? So she goes, oh, well, have a good evening and we'll talk about it tomorrow. He goes, great, see you then. And when he turned and he looked at Elena and she smiled because see, any other time, sorry, honey, I gotta go and meet Victoria. We have to discuss the number. Oh, Elena smiled like, wow, okay, he is putting me first because he is off. Nate was off the clock. He just really went back there to tell off Audra, right? So, and I thought, ooh, Victoria's getting ready to turn it up a notch. She's getting ready to what? She's going to plan a business trip weekend away. And Nate's going to ask, can I take Elena? And Victoria's going to say no. Because Elena's going to say, great, let me arrange for some time off and we could go finally do our thing right after your business meeting. Victoria's going to veto that. That's going to be good. That's going to be really good because Victoria's just begun. At this point, it's going to be out of spite for her, out of complete spite. And then we have, I'm not going to even talk about Jack and Diane. It's ridiculous. They're home. They tell Summer. No, they come home a little bit later in the show because first we deal with Phyllis. And everybody who saw that scene like I saw that scene. Phyllis comes in. I've got to tell you something. And Summer and Kyle look, Summer goes, Kyle and I are in the middle of something. I know you don't want to speak to me. I know it. This is important. I am worried. I'm worried about Jack and Diane. Phyllis, and she did the worst acting job on the planet. I'm worried about Jack and Diane. It's Stark. He's determined he's going to find them. He has got on a plane to find them in Paris. And Summer's like, Paris? Okay, but why would he? Kyle's like, why would he go looking for him in Paris? And so she's like, He feels that he's got a lead on him, but he's planning on getting back at Diane, and I don't want them to get hurt. But even just her whole demeanor was bad acting demeanor. And Summer was onto it just from the gate. And so Kyle says, what I want to know is, how do you know what Stark is thinking and where he's going? And she looked. Of course, we get the commercial break, and then she comes back, and she goes, look, Stark approached me. He wanted me to work with him. I completely turned him down. But he told me what his plan was. And I'm just telling you, they need to be careful wherever they are. So Kyle is like, I have to go make a phone call. Kyle is believing it hook, line, and sinker. Summer, if you look at the look on Summer's face as she's looking at Phyllis, she's like, you're lying, and I could smell you're lying. Summer is like, I've seen you operate over the years. And so Kyle jumps up to go and make a phone call. And he goes, oh, where's my phone? And Phyllis goes, you looking for this? So she gives Kyle his phone, and he goes, oh, and Summer's thinking, how did she get his phone? And she goes, how did you get his phone? He said, I must have left it. And he looked at Phyllis. He thought, oh, okay, I saw you he knew where he left it, at the Grand Phoenix, right? My whole thing is, you know how long ago he was at that Grand Phoenix? Everybody. Is your business cell phone, even though his business and personal cell phone is one and the same, is your cell phone joined with you at your hip? I know mine is. Not even at the hip. It's in my hand. Goodness. Half the time I'm looking for my cell phone and it's in my hand. Right? And I'm like, how did you know to meet Summer at Crimson Lights if you didn't have your phone? I mean, look, we're not going to talk about how he went the rest of the day not knowing he didn't have his cell phone. We're not going to talk about that because this is soap opera land, right? And so he goes, and Summer looks at him. Summer said, I feel something else is going on here. And Phyllis is like, no, I'm just here because I was concerned. And she goes, you know what? If I find out that you're lying, that you're working with Stark. She goes, Mom, Summer, no, I'm telling you, no. And Summer's just like, So they pretty much ended there. I don't even know if they show Kyle coming back, because they show Summer and Kyle going to the Abbott house, and Summer's telling him, Kyle, something does not feel right to me about this. It's not right. The whole story my mother gave, it's not right. I think she's more involved. I think she's probably working with Stark. And I think they may want Jack and Diane to come home. Summer was right on. And Kyle says, no, that's Summer. Bottom line, even if that's what she wanted, when I called to talk to my dad, he said he and Diane they were on their way home. They were coming home tonight anyway. So your mother did not just speed that up, right? And I checked with my friend that works at the airport. Stark boarded a private charter and he left. And I'm thinking, how does Stark get money for a private charter? Or maybe he just said boarded a plane to Paris, but I could have swore he said private, right? Comment corner, tell me, did he say private? Because I'm not listening again for it. It's not that important. Stark came looking after his $250,000 from Diane, but he sure got money for expensive lawyers and private jets or charters to go wherever he want to go, right? He didn't need that $250,000 from Diane. And so Summer said, Kyle, I'm just going to tell you this. I have a bad feeling. And actually, she may have been telling him this at the coffee house before they got home, because Jack and Diane were already at the Abbott house, and they said they were going to tell Kyle and Summer about their engagement, but Diane took off her ring because she didn't want the ring to do the talking before they could tell the news, right? So yeah, Summer and Kyle walk into the house. So Summer had that conversation at the coffee house with Kyle. But Jack and Diane spring their new. She goes, we've got some news. And Summer's like, what now? She goes, no, it should be good news. And Jack says, I asked Diane to marry me, and I'm the luckiest man in the world because she said yes. Kyle looks at them, Summer looks at them, they look at each other like, wait, what? Right? What? So now we have Phyllis in Stark's room, and he goes, okay, Jack and Diane, Kyle made the phone call, so I'm sure they are on their way home. Okay. And so he says, good, good. She goes, so what's the next plan? And he goes, well, the next plan is I need you to get some personal items that only belong to Diane. And so she goes, how am I supposed to do that? He goes, you're going to need to make nice with the Abbotts. And she goes, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm doing that at all. And he goes, well, okay, so then if you won't do it, then I'm going to hire some associates to do a simple B&E. And I thought B&E, because you know me and acronyms, folks. So breaking and entering. Okay. Breaking it. And she goes, oh, absolutely not. I have already told you. My daughter and Harrison and Kyle will not be in any danger at all. Somebody's breaking into the house. Anything could happen. Absolutely not. And he goes, well, if you leave me no choice. And she goes, fine. And that's, she's got her hands crossed. She's mad. See, Phyllis and Stark would never work well together because Phyllis doesn't take orders from people. And Stark is coming up with these demands, and he still didn't tell her what the plan is. He just says, I want you to go get, no, then you know what? No, I'm out and I'm warning everybody. I'm leaving here saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go warn everybody and watch them not believe her. So anyway, she says she's going to do it. And now I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Is Stark going to do to Diane what Jack and Diane did to him? Take some of her personal artifacts and leave them around and do some dirt and do some things with it. But either way, Phyllis is going to get caught. Phyllis is going to be the one holding the bag in all of this. But you know what? The way Phyllis is acting, and you know everybody, I've been Team Phyllis, she's going to get what she deserves. She 100% is going to get what she deserves. I hope her revenge is worth it. I really, really do. Okay, so let's go to Comment Corner. Comment Corner. Vanessa says, you're doing a wonderful job on the recaps. Listening to you bring so much joy and gives Y&R, gives Y&R a reason to watch. I laugh at some of your other details because I think the same, or I'm thinking the same. Keep up the excellent work. Maybe they should hire you. I think you could give them some fascinating input. Yeah, you know what? That'd be too much like work. See, look, the daily recap to me is fun, right? I couldn't go to work and make fun of my fellow coworkers' horrible writing job. Couldn't do it, right? Might be, some of them might be my boss's idea, and I talk about, what? Who wrote that? Are you out your mind? You know, no, that would not work. I have a much better position of being daily recap lady and just really digging deep with it, right? So Terry says, Phyllis working with Stark is going to end up with Summer getting hurt instead of Diane. I'm gonna hate that. I'm not looking forward to that, but you know what? You could be right. And that would be a travesty because Summer, out of all of them, does not deserve to get hurt, to get injured. And it says because Stark doesn't care about Phyllis or her kids. Well, just Summer. She doesn't care about Summer. Stark wants revenge, and he doesn't care who gets in the way. You're so true, Terry. Brooklyn says the writers don't know what they want to do with Sharon's career. She should have opened her office by now, especially after studying, after all that studying and effort to getting her degree. Um, it was so important to her. Serving coffee and donuts while eavesdropping on others, everyone's business, or giving them advice just might get her back into the nut house again. Well, they just decided not to go anywhere with that. And I don't understand. They did. They took us through that whole time. And she's so qualified now. And now she's just, nothing, right? And then Brooklyn also says, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the like button as well. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you, Brooklyn, because I forget to say subscribe to this channel all the time. But thank you so much, Brooklyn, for reminding people to do that. Brooklyn also says Victoria scheming behind Victor's back might cause her CEO position. And Daddy Dearest, it might cost her that, really. And Daddy Dearest might give it to Adam. That could happen. Brooklyn says Nick won't step foot in the house if Sally accepts Adam's offer on buying her a house. And then Brenda says, I think Nick would love to be in the house that Adam bought for Sally and throw shade in Adam's face. Yeah. Nick will come to the door. Adam's knocking. Nick will come to the door with his shirt off in the house that Adam bought Sally. He would do that. Like little children singing, na, 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 na. Yep, that is so true. Nick would eat it up, and Adam would just throw up and get mad. Nick would eat that up. Libby says Friday was everybody butting into everybody else's business. Stupid show. It says the writers have lost their dang mind. That's my recap, LOL. Thank you, Libby. Net says, as we say in the good old South, Lordy, Phyllis, you just ain't right. Annette says, I would like to see Victoria and Devon sneak a kiss. No. Or Victoria and Tucker getting closer. Shut up, Sally. Her role ruined the story, in my opinion. I do wonder who is Sally's daddy. We know it's not Victor, but it could be Tucker. No, Sally's mother and father, I think they were killed, which is why she had to be raised by her Aunt Sally. Her and her sister Coco was raised by her Aunt Sally. Annette says, let's help our pretty hat lady get 1,000 more subscribers. Now, that would be great. That would be great. But you know what? We're going to keep doing what we're doing. I'm going to be right here. And it's going to happen, everybody. Belinda says, hi, beautiful queen recap lady. I just wanted to let you know I enjoyed your live video. It was a great idea. I really hope Devon buys Tucker's company. With that said, Devon has to toughen up because Victoria is going to be cutthroat just like her father. Remember, after getting back from trying to intimidate Devon, Victoria told Nate she always gets what she wants. And the look in her eyes were saying, including you, Nate. That's exactly what I said. She was hinting that I always get what I want as she looks him up and down. I am so sick of Nick. He doesn't really want Sally. Adam is within his rights to be involved in every aspect of being that comes with being an expected father and his child. Right now, I don't really expect for anything more to come on The Young and the Restless worth watching. With the March Madness basketball games starting up this Thursday and Friday. Have a blessed rest of your week. You know what? If the games are starting up Thursday and Friday, I think what probably Wednesday's show is going to probably be the last one because I know we missed some Young and the Restless during March Madness. So we shall see, everybody. We shall see. Well, that's it on Comment Corner. Comment Corner. That's all I got to say. Nothing else really happened. But I will be back tomorrow for a next daily recap for the Young and the Restless.